Hello and welcome to EBAday 2025 in Paris. I'm Hannah Wallace, and kindly joining us in the studio on day 2 is Peter Hazou, Business Development Director, Financial Services for Microsoft. Peter, it's great to have you in the studio again. Thanks for joining us.
Great to be here, great to be at EBAday.
It really has been a fantastic event and a very busy one, a lot of interesting discussions, and at the heart of many of those is the conversation around artificial intelligence. That's where I want to focus our discussion on. Could you set the scene and tell us how you have seen the banking industry adapt to artificial intelligence? And we'll start there.
Well, yes. In fact, one of the great things about EBAday is a chance to network and chat with clients and colleagues around the changes. So the content is also very interesting this year, as well as, of course, the networking, which is what such events are all about. I would say that there is a complete reframing of payments, a very staid business. We've all been in it a long time, but the data is at the heart of it, and therefore artificial intelligence. So it's really about the data. And there is so much data. We've seen with retail payments, for example, that there's data insights about what people buy, how they shop, but really on the wholesale side, the account-to-account has been, frankly, less exploited. And I think where this is going, and exactly use the word inflection point about it, and I'll talk a moment about artificial intelligence, but just about the banking industry, it's a lot about the changing business models and changing operating models because of all the data and what it enables. So there's really a big change coming. It's not something that's completely one thing because there's a lot of fragmentation in the industry. So the question is, how does one adopt to making best use of AI, for example, in an industry that is really so fragmented? And so it's a really interesting time for discussions in these meetings.
All right, thank you very much for bringing us up to date there and highlighting those trends. Now, homing in more on artificial intelligence. It is a very broad term, and there are many different types of artificial intelligence. Where are you seeing having the most tangible impact?
Well, of course, artificial intelligence is nothing new. It's been around for financial crime detection, critically in payments for a long time, as well as anti-money laundering and things that are of regulatory significance for banks. That said, the value of the data that's in the payments, because payments are really about the flow of data. It's, banks are so obsessed about processing, which is what the industry's always been. It's really about the insights that are within the payments themselves. And there's a lot of new technologies, in particular generative AI, as well as agentic AI, and they both have different impacts. Generative AI, for example, the use of natural languages is the true democratization of data insights, because people can ask questions in natural languages and really derive insights that are valuable for the bank as well as for clients. But also agentic AI in terms of how things get processed. And agentic, relatively new word, it's really about agents. And those agents can work autonomously, semi-autonomously, and can really help improve operational efficiency. So there's really a plethora of things within a lot of the new technology that can help what's really a very fragmented industry in payments and payment processes.
It's such an interesting space to keep our eyes on. And another area that banks and financial institutions are often grappling with is the conflict between AI being a security risk as well as an enabler. So there are opportunities and challenges there. Could you tell us how is the best way, and how do you see banks tackling this challenge between the two?
So security is a very specialized subject. And at the banks and the industry, it's really best left to those areas that are well trained to defend the bank, of course. And a lot of that is within the bank, data and information and fraud, et cetera. But a lot of it is to help those that use the bank. So it's really those two things. But the big area where there's enormous value, which is a lot of new technology, is really more on the generative AI. And that's affecting how bank employees work, using co-pilots, for example, to help in their elimination of mundane tasks, so it makes the bank more efficient, but also derives a lot of insights that are of enormous value to clients. So I think we'll see a change in also the business model of the services and the value that banks provide to their clients. So there's really a big, I would say, sea change happening with a lot of this new technology.
Peter, I look forward to catching up with you further down the line and reflecting on those insights. As I say, a really exciting space. I'll let you get back to EBAday, day 2, but thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.